Hey foodie family, welcome back. Today I'll share another one-pot meal with you. Bhagi rice with chicken and pigtails. This is more of a cleaning out the fridge recipe. I was thinking of meal ideas, and when I looked through the fridge and the freezer, I had everything for this tasty one-pot meal. Join me in the kitchen today as I cook a simple and absolutely delicious pot of bhagi rice with chicken and pigtails. Hey everyone, so here are the ingredients that I'll use for the bhagi rice with chicken and pigtails. So here I have the chicken, and this has been washed and cleaned already. And the last time I made pilau, I actually put aside half the chicken to make an next pilau or to make something else. So this came in handy. I have some pigtails there. I have some herbs here, some fresh thyme, some cilantro, bandhania or shadow beni, some parsley, and some chive. So if you notice how these chives looking, these have been in the fridge for weeks. So some of them, nearly at the point where they can't be used anymore. So I want to use it up today. I also have celery, and this is the leafy celery. I love using this one. So this is definitely going to be one of those clean up the fridge kind of lockdown meal. I have onion, garlic, a carrot, some peppers here. These are baby sweet peppers, or they call it baby bell peppers here. I have a scorpion pepper that I got from my aunt's garden. So this is gonna give some heat to our bhagi rice. And I have some pimentos that I had in the freezer. If you notice, they look a bit soft. So I'm just using about 3 of those. I already put some in my green seasoning. I have some rice there also. So I've started back using parboiled rice a little bit. I love jasmine rice, but for dishes like bhagi rice and pilau, you just have to get that parboiled rice. And here I have one of the most important ingredients in Caribbean cooking. This is some green seasoning. So this is a combo of some chive, some parsley, bandhania, some cilantro. I put a few pimento peppers in there and 1 head of garlic. So I love lots of garlic. It's good to keep the vampires away, it's good to keep zombies away, and it's really good to keep COVID away. So use lots of garlic. So when the pandemic just started, we stocked up on a lot of frozen okra, well, a lot of frozen veggies in general. So of course I love okra, so I stocked up on a lot of okra and this butternut squash. Or I just buy the pumpkin and I cut it up in cubes and freeze it in little bags, like little soup packs, because I usually use it for just soup and pilau. Well, in this case, bhagi rice. These actually come in handy. You can fry these with, okra and aloo. You could add it to soup, add it to your bhagi rice. There's no difference. It still tastes amazing. So if you get ochroes on sale, you can definitely freeze them and they'll last you a long time. And here I have one of the most important ingredients for this dish, the bhagi. So traditionally in my family, we use dasheen bush bhagi for bhagi rice. But my aunt actually gave me this bundle of chorai bhagi. So instead of making just regular bhagi with coconut milk, I decided to add it to the bhagi rice today. Of course, if you have access to dasheen bush leaves, then definitely use that. Or you can even use a combo of both, or you can use some frozen spinach. And chorai bhagi is also called Jamaican callaloo or amaranth leaves. Here I have some corn, and this is of course optional. I had this in the fridge since July 4th, I think. No, July 3rd, because I bought it the day before July 4th, and I was gonna grill these for July 4th, and they just never ended up on the grill. So you see how old they're looking. They've been in the fridge for a few weeks. Today is the 21st of July. Yeah. So these kind of sad looking. And another important ingredient in this dish is coconut milk. This is from a pack. It's a Thai coconut cream milk powder, and I love how it works so far. So I've been using it often when I don't have my favorite canned coconut milk. And I also have the last piece of coconut cream. So this is the box. I know it looks mashed up. It's been in the fridge for a while, but that's the last piece. It's pure creamed coconut. It gives a lovely, rich coconut flavor to your dishes. You can add this to pilau, to rice. You can add it to just about anything that you want to add a nice coconut flavor to. So the first thing I want to mention is if your chicken is cleaned already and it's at room temp, cover it tightly and put it in the fridge because you don't want it to sit out for the next hour while we boil the pigtails. So because these are salted pigtails, I want to boil all the salt out of it. So I'm going to boil it 3 times at 20 minutes each. So when it boils the first time, you drain the water out, wash it out thoroughly. You put it back up to boil, put fresh clean water, let it boil for 20 minutes again, and you do the same process. 3 times you're doing this, and then wash it out thoroughly, and then we can move on. And then when it's finished boiling, I'll cut it up into smaller pieces, and then we can start cooking. For the chorai bhaji, all you want to do is take the leaves off and then cut the bhaji into smaller pieces. I'll season the chicken first so it can marinate in the fridge while it sits. And I'm just adding some salt. So just about 2 teaspoons. And we'll be stewing the chicken and the pigtails before we add everything else. You'll need some black pepper also. And I'll just add some green seasoning. Not too much. And just mix it in. Now that the chicken is seasoned with those lovely Caribbean flavors, I'm just gonna cover it tightly and let it lime in the fridge for a little bit while we work on the pigtails. So all the ingredients are prepped now. I cut up the herbs here. This is to actually finish off the Bhagi rice, so I'll add this last. I boiled and cut up the pigtails. The chicken got to marinate for about an hour and a half in the fridge. I cut up the ochroes and I left the pumpkin in the chunks that they were in. I washed and cut up the chorai bhaji. So in this plate, I cut up the onion, garlic, the hot pepper, celery, parsley, carrot, sweet peppers, pimentos, and the thyme. So this is what we'll use to chunky the Bhagi rice. So to the pot, I'll add some oil first. And we want the meat to have a nice color, so I'm just adding a little bit of sugar to stew it. Just about a tablespoon and a half. Yeah, about a tablespoon and a half. Actually, no, let's just make it 2 tablespoons. Since it's both the chicken and the pigtails. So it's nearly at the stage we want it to be. You want it to start bubbling a lot. You'll see lots of bubbles on top, and then you'll see it's gonna start turning into a nice amber color, and then it's gonna go back dark. So before it goes back dark, we're gonna add our meat in before it turns too dark. So you see how it's frothing up and swelling and moving towards the sides of the pot? That's what you're looking for. So what you want here is you want this to bunje, you want that water to be released from the meat, and then you want it to dry down. So I'll keep this on a medium-high heat, and I'll let the meat spring its natural juices and then dry down, and then once that happens, we can add everything else. So I just took the cover off, and you can see how much water the meat let out. I'm just gonna give it a little turn, just so that it browns evenly. all the water has dried up, and as you can hear, the meat is getting a nice sear on it. So it's time to add the carrots, sweet peppers, the parsley, celery, garlic, onion, pepper, and thyme. So just add everything in. I'll add half of that seasoning, the ochroes and the pumpkin, well, the squash. So although it was frozen and I know they probably washed it, I like to give it a good rinse before using it. And I was lucky because I got some baby ochroes. The baby ochroes are really nice and soft. So just mix everything. Look at how gorgeous that looks. I'll add the corn now. So just mix that in. Get everything coated. Gosh, it smells so good already. Now I'll add the bhaji. So the bhaji, once I add this, I'll cover it and just let it steam a little bit. And one thing I didn't mention, when you're using chorai bhaji, it's always good if you could get the small leaves. Let me see if I can find one. The smaller leaves are actually sweeter, like these. The big leaves have what we call a casa taste. It's really bitter and sour. Get this mixed in. Don't worry, it's gonna wilt soon. It just looks like a lot right now. So I'm just gonna cover this for about 5 to 10 minutes just for the bhaji to steam a little bit. And then when I come back, we'll add the rice and the coconut milk, and then everything will come together. So you see how the bhaji melted down? It looks like I barely put anything in there. So now is when we add our rice. So let's hope this don't overflow. That is gorgeous. Look at those colors. There's yellow, the brown, there's orange, green, red. I just love colorful food. So at this point, I'll add a little bit of salt. I'm starting to smell that scorpion pepper. I'm happy I didn't put the whole thing. I just cut half and I said I'll taste it, and then if it needs more pepper, I'll add it like closer to the end. I'll also add some black pepper. Fresh black pepper is always so good. Now I'll add the coconut milk. This is gonna give this a lovely flavor. So the bowl that the chicken was in, I actually added some water to that and to my mini chopper to get all the seasonings out. Look at that. So colorful. So I'll add the piece of coconut cream also. Just get that in there. It'll melt. I'll add a little more water. And I want this to come up to a boil. Once it comes up to a boil, I'll cover it. Well, I'll lower the heat and then cover it. So now that it's at a bubble or a rolling boil, I'm just gonna lower the heat all the way down to medium low. And I'm gonna cover the pot and leave it for about 15 to 20 minutes. So it's been 20 minutes now. Let's check on it. So I like mine more on the wet side, so I didn't let it dry down too much. Or I should say I didn't add the amount of water I was supposed to add if I want it dry. So I used 3 cups of rice here. If you want this to be a dry bhagi rice, then you'll only add 6 cups of water. So it looks really good. I'm dribbling. Look how it eats. Just want to test the rice. So it's perfectly cooked. So I'll leave the cover off now and I'll just raise the heat just a little bit. So I like my bhagi rice more on the wet side, so that's why when it's finished you'll notice that it's going to be moist. But if you want this to be dry, you'll want to add 2 cups of liquid per cup of rice. So that's only for parboiled rice. If you're doing basmati or white rice, it's less. So it's about 1.5 cups of water per cup of rice. So I use 3 cups of parboiled rice here. So if you want a dry bhagi rice, then you'll add just 6 cups of liquid. Not just water alone, total liquid, because we added coconut milk. So if you add 2 cups of coconut milk, you'll add 4 cups of water. Now I'll just let this bubble and wait for some of this liquid to dry up a bit. And then I will add the finishing touches. So you see how moist it is here? I actually like to turn it off here. I like to eat it while it's steaming hot and it's so runny. But as it cools down, it actually thickens up, but it still stays moist. So to you, it might look like a gumbo, it might look like a soup, but it actually just looks like this at this point. But once it cools down and it comes to room temp, it tends to, the rice actually absorbs that liquid. So at this point, I'll just finish it with those fresh herbs that we chopped up. The cilantro, the bandhania, and the chive. So just mix that in. And if you want, a lot of people like to add salted margarine to finish it. Kevin and I actually don't eat it again, but my brother loves to add it to his bhagi rice. So I'm actually gonna turn it off here, and I know a lot of people are probably cringing right now. You can dry it down more, you can add less liquid so that it's not so moist, but this is how I love it. So I just turn the heat off, and of course I'm gonna handle a plate because I love this consistency. I love how wet it is here. But I'm also gonna let this cool down probably until it's warm, not completely cold, but I'll show you how it looks, and I'll show you that it's not this wet once it cools down. Hey everyone, so it's a few hours later, and as you can see, half the pot is gone already. So this is how it looks. It's not wet and runny like you saw earlier. It has a nice moist finish. So this is how we like it. Both my husband and I, we love it more on the moist side. So of course, if you don't like it this way, then add less liquid and cook it as dry or as wet as you like. So I hope the recipe was easy to follow. You can definitely omit the meat and make this vegetarian, or you can add chicken alone, pork alone, seafood, some saltfish, customize it to your liking. I really hope you enjoyed it and learned something new today. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Taste of Trinbago to see my live cooking stories. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time. Bye!